Hi everybody, welcome back to On Air, my Beatles collection. Today I'm going to go through another unauthorized box set of CDs. This one's called the Beatles Fab Collection. And there are the titles. I'll go through that in a minute. There's 19 CDs in this box set. They are on the Fab label, so I'll show you a label quickly. I'll only show you one label. That's what they look like. And that is an actual label that's pressed on there. Of course, this is a bootleg. Probably figured that out already. So this first one, happens to be the American version of A Hard Day's Night. And you get two versions of it here. You get the mono and the stereo. You notice the subtle difference in the cover. They had to kind of squish the Beatles down on the right side there in order to get the stereo banner across the top. So these were both released in June of 1964, and on the United Artists label, because there was considered a soundtrack album. And this is the version, the American version, that has the George Martin instrumental tracks from the movie. So the instrumentals are I Should Have Known Better, and I Love Her, This Boy, known here as Ringo's theme, and A Hard Day's Night, the instrumental. And then the rest of the tracks are the actual Beatles tracks. A Hard Day's Night, Tell Me Why, I Cry Instead. Of course, it's I'll Cry Instead, but it was always listed on the label as I Cry Instead. On the jacket, it was listed as I Cry Instead. I'm Happy Just to Dance With You, I Should Have Known Better, If I Fell, and I Love Her, Can't Buy Me Love. Those are the Beatles tracks, not George Martin tracks. So if you want to read that, you can see what I just read to you there. And then this is what that inner sleeve looks like. It shows the original labels for each type, and then it shows the original covers again. So these are all unique in one way or another. They're in here for one reason or another, either because there's a mono and a stereo, or because there's something else unusual about it. This one is from Australia, and this is Greatest Hits Volume 1 and 2 compilations. And this is the back. So it shows you what the back of each of those albums would have looked like. And what the song track is. There's 14 songs on each of these albums. And this is in stereo. And this is what those labels would have looked like. Again, the same as the front cover. The next one is Rubber Soul, and it says single vocal mixes for the first 16 tracks. And then the next 10 tracks, it says including second lead vocal mix. So that's this one, and you got, of course, the full body shot for Rubber Soul, as opposed to the other version. This is full dimensional stereo. This would have been originally, if it were, this is the US version. No, it's not. Sorry, this is the UK version. Anyway, that's what that looks like, and there's the track listing. Here's another one. This has the US version of Rubber Soul and the US version of Revolver. The Canadian version of Revolver. So you got Rubber Soul, the East Coast version, which is the more reverby version. And then you got the Canada version of Revolver in stereo. So, of course, the US Rubber Soul has only 12 tracks, and some of them are different tracks. It opens with I've Just Seen a Face and Not Drive My Car. And this also is the reverby version. So Dave Dexter Jr. Hit the reverb button up fairly high on some of this stuff. And there's bonus tracks on here, which is Think for Yourself, which is from the Best of George Harrison album, and it has extra reverb. And then it has Got to Get You Into My Life, and this is from Apple in 1975, and it has louder drum fills. And then it has Tomorrow Never Knows from Apple 1975, and it has less bass. So that's that. So all a little bit different. And then we get another one, another revolver. And this is mono, US mono revolver and US stereo revolver. Again, these had 11 tracks in the US. I'll show you those. So that album in mono and stereo. And then this is Revolver Remixes. And so this has a wide variety of different things going on. You'll have to read that, pause the screen and read that, and you can see all the differences going on there. I'll just skip through it a little bit. 2022 demo, or demix, sorry. You know, so these are what went into the, you know, some of the box set when you know, they had it demixed and remixed. So there's tracks isolated. So like, for example, Got to Get You Into My Life, you have just the drums. Then you have the bass and the drums. Then you have just the brass. Then you have it as an instrumental. Then you have vocals only. So this is all demixed for the purpose of remixing. Then we have Sgt. Pepper, and this is an Australia audiophile version in stereo. And that's what that looks like on the back. I'll take this one out. I'll take a look at this. So here's where you get the traditional back of the Sgt. Pepper album with Paul facing away from us. The labels, again, are all the same. They're all this Fab label. Next, we have two versions of Magical Mystery Tour. This is the US Capitol album in mono and in stereo. So 11 tracks in mono, 12 tracks in stereo, or should I say 12 tracks on the stereo side of this, with I Am the Walrus being a US mono single mix at the end of it. So you can see in the right-hand column there, over here, there, you can see there's one extra track, and that's the mono single mix. Of course, this album originated as a Capitol album in the US. The UK version was an EP, and then later on, this album version was accepted as Beatles canon and became part of the official Beatles albums. Unlike, say, for example, Hey Jude or some of the other American versions. So this is the White Album, and this is the compressed version. This is a pretty famous, I dare say, infamous version. You may have read the story about George Harrison being out in LA and hearing the White Album compressed and saying that sounds terrible, and to his ears anyway, and he asked for it to be remixed. And the one that most people got their hands on was the remixed, based on what George Harrison wanted changed. So this is a double CD compressed version, and this is highly sought after in vinyl. Of course, this is a CD, so it's it's something different. This would have been the first pressing that was mastered by Capitol, and it's considered the compressed version. So it's pretty famous in that regard. And then this one is the White Album also, but this is from the US white vinyl version. So this is a needle drop from the white vinyl version. I don't know off the top of my head what's famous or infamous about the sound of the white vinyl. That would have been 1978, I believe, the white vinyl came out. They did a lot of white vinyl and picture discs that year. And I do have this in vinyl, this version. To my ear, I don't always hear the difference based on what vinyl it is. I certainly do hear the differences if they remix. When they remaster, that's one thing. You get slightly improved sound here and there, but a remix, you actually hear different things. I'm not sure about the white vinyl in what way it might differ to the ears, but the people that put this box together decided not only did you want to get the compressed master, but you wanted to get the white album. So we got the white album as well. I mean the white vinyl album. Next we have white album outtakes and remixes. So this is, you get several versions of the same song, and you get isolated tracks and that sort of thing. So that's the back cover with all the titles there. That you might want to pause that. And there's the front cover of that. Next, we're going to get what they call the Wally cut of Let It Be, and from 1979. And then they get the 1978 UK white vinyl version. So we're doing that white vinyl thing again. So that's what that looks like. I had not heard the term the Wally cut, but it's the Wally Tragoff mastered version from 1979. And you'll see it says that over here. I hope I pronounced Wally's last name right. And I'll have to listen to that. Again, I'm not sure what's different about white vinyl, but I'm interested in the Wally mix. So I'm gonna check that out. And then we have the Let It Be 5.1 mixes. And what this is each of these tracks isolates to a speaker or a set of speakers. So you get, for example, you get Two of Us, and you get the first track is the front, the second track is the center, the third track is the rear. So you can read that for yourself here. So it's not necessarily the full 5.1. You can't put it on and listen to all 5 channels at once, or 5.1. You're listening to front first, then center, then rear, that sort of thing. Again. So that's one of those. And next we have Love Songs. And Love Songs is the first pressing mono and stereo versions. Remember, this was a double album. It's all squeezed onto one CD here. So they're not all in mono and then all in stereo. It's some in mono and some in stereo is what this is. And then we have Rock and Roll, which is basically the same story. It's 2 LPs squeezed onto one CD. And some of these are in stereo and some of them are in mono. This one has some of the infamous rock and roll artwork that John Lennon loathed and was not happy about. And there's the original front cover with the hands holding it, and then the back side of the hands holding the double, what was then a double album. And last but not least, we have the Prouse Series Apple Abbey Road from Japan. So we'll take a look at the inside of this. So you can see this is in Japanese. It has the original price in yen. It's the same as the outer sleeve. I'm not sure, again, what's special about the Prouse Series stereo. I do know this was released in 1978. So this would have been a very, well, it would be pre-CD, of course. This is not the CD mix that came out in the first Japan Abbey Road. But this was released in 78. So we'll have to find out what the Prouse stereo is all about, Prouse Series. So that's the Fab Collection. And hopefully, if you get a chance to listen to that, you'll hear some new stuff and new versions of things or old versions that you hadn't heard before. That compressed white album is the jewel of the box set, I think, in this case. But if you like reverb and you want to hear the East Coast mix of Rubber Soul, that's cool too. So anyway, that's it for today's episode, the Fab Collection. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you have any comments, if you can answer any of the questions that I've raised that I don't know the answer to, and if you are not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, and hopefully we'll see you back here soon. Take care. Thanks for stopping by.